Andy's Garage. I'm Andy Phillips. Today I'm going to show you how to replace the EGR valve on a Pontiac Fiero GT. Let's get started. Looking here you have your distributor cap with your spark plug wires. Then you have your ignition coil, which is located right under here. And then just to the left of it, this right here is your EGR valve. It connects into the EGR tube, which then works its way up to the intake manifold. So this is what we're going to be replacing. So let's go ahead and I'll show you that. On this one here, we had an issue where the nuts were actually rusted, and I had to go ahead and remove those with an extractor. So we're not going to be removing the nuts on this since they've been taken off. If you want to see how to remove rusted or just pretty much seized on bolts or nuts, please do so via the link above my other video. All right, so on here, what I've done already is I had to cut the head off in order to get to the bolt, so that was done already. So we're going to go ahead and remove this vacuum line gently. And then normally this would all be one piece. So since this has already been cut off, I'm going to go ahead and remove that. Put that off to the side. And then here's where these are two 13mm nuts normally holding the EGR valve on. They've already been stripped off. As I mentioned, I had to use a bolt extractor since they were stripped. So to get access, what you would have to do is we're going to have to remove right here the ignition coil and then this shield right here, so that way we can get into here to get all that off properly. If you need to know how to remove the ignition coil and all that, you can also check out the link above for a video on how to do that as well. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward to that. So let me remove all this. We'll be right back. Ignition coil has been removed, and we've gone ahead and loosened this one bolt holding the shield. So now let's go ahead and remove that. Pull that through. So now we have access to get in here with a ratchet or whatever you need to extract those bolts, so that way you can remove the EGR valve. So in this case here, this one's already been removed, so I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. Gently lift that up. You can see here this thing is filthy, a lot of carbon buildup. If we check here, this is actually the gasket, which is pretty much falling apart, so we're going to remove that because we're going to replace that as well. And then I'm going to go ahead and vacuum in here with a shop vac because some debris looks like it may have fallen in there. We don't want that going up through the EGR tube and into the intake. So I'm going to go ahead and vacuum that out, and then we can start prepping it to put the new one in. I'm going to take some carburetor cleaner and just spray in here. You can see there's a lot of buildup and debris there. You go ahead and clean that out. Take a rag here and just wipe that off. We want to have good connection with the gasket. So I'm going to clean that off. Also going to grease up these threads a little bit since it was all rusted with the old bolts that were seized on there. That way we have a good connection on that too. And I'm going to get this all ready and I'll be right back. Everything is dry and cleaned out. So now we're going to go ahead and put the new gasket on. Slide that on right there. And then we're going to get ready to put the new EGR valve on. Slide it right here over these. Slide washers on. I'm going to hand tighten these 13mm nuts on here, and then we'll come back with a ratchet and fine tune them. It's a little hard to get a ratchet in here, even if you have a swivel or angled head, so I'm just going to go ahead and use a 13mm wrench. That way you can get in there easier, and then you just have to hand tighten it. Take your time, but you do want to get it nice and tight. This is nice and secure. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to attach the vacuum line. However, you'll notice here that the vacuum input here is supposed to be facing up, and for whatever reason it's facing to the left. If you know, on the EGR valves, this headpiece is connected by three little security bolts that hold it on there, some hex heads. I can't get to them. It looks like when they put it on, they have it on this angle. It should be up. So rather than try to get that off, what I'm going to do now is just go ahead and extend the vacuum line because this won't reach here and I don't want to bend it and break it. So I'm going to put an extension on it with another connector here. We'll connect that. We'll be right back. Okay, I went ahead and I attached little vacuum hose coming off the EGR valve, connecting to the vacuum line, and then connecting back into where the connector that connects to the EGR valve was originally. All that's been sealed, so that way we have a tight fit. So that pretty much takes care of that. If you can see here, everything is nice and tight. Gasket's in place. The EGR valve is all set to go. So that pretty much takes care of that. Okay, well that pretty much wraps up this video on how to change out the EGR valve on a Pontiac Fiero GT. I hope this video helped you out. Please send me any questions, any comments. I would love to hear from you. I'm always posting new content weekly, so please like the video and subscribe to this channel. I appreciate all the support, and we'll see you next time.